Alright, so this video now, I want this video to go viral. Even if it's just to look at this ridiculous behavior and to laugh at it. I want this video to go viral so that you can all hear my message. Even if it's only to laugh at what you consider to be ridiculous. There is this nationwide commercial. You know what I'm talking about. I have posted comments. I have attempted to post comments on videos with many views. And I finally found this video of their commercial on YouTube and posted on that. Yeah? But I tell you, that video, quote unquote, did not have many views, so it's kind of pointless. It had less than 1 million views. Okay? Now maybe me saying this in a video might make this sink in. Okay? Probably not. I know the type that most YouTube people are. Yeah? I've seen the comments. Okay? I don't know why I have to say this. I do not know why I have to say this, but I know the kinds of comments that YouTube people always are making. The vast majority of YouTube comments. Why do I have to say this? You should have some common sense. And I really want this to go viral, otherwise it's pointless. Okay, back to this nationwide commercial. This filth. The commercial I am referring to is the one where they have kids reacting to things the way that anyone should be reacting to things if they are in these situations where they are being ignored. They're being ignored. You know the one. I assume it's showing nationwide. And it is outrageous. And you know why it's outrageous. Because it is what I call decontextualization. Their slogan, if you will, is in the nation, we know what it's like to not be treated like a priority. That is absolutely outrageous to say on a commercial that will be seen and has been seen by millions of children. There's zero common sense in that. Why do I have to say this? Do you not understand what I mean by decontextualization? Put it together. Put it together in your conditioned heads. You are conditioned to ignore ageism in exactly the same way that they so crassly bring up so glibly on in this commercial, it is not just this nationwide commercial. This nationwide commercial must end. Absolutely must end. And if it doesn't end, you absolutely must get the word to children, to children everywhere, that this is screwed up. That it could not possibly be more screwed up. You have to think rationally. Yeah? Think rationally. You know what I mean. Be enlightened. As the children are. Because it is not enlightened to have this artifice about adulthood as you are, especially about adulthood being something that absolutely that accounts for everything. Don't you get it? As adulthood being the necessary thing, it undercuts the children, obviously. And it's stupid. Because you can see that the children have their own society, quote unquote, whatever, but they are being rational people. Perfectly. Now, what I meant when I said especially, that was really in reference to this commercial and how it sends a message to the children that they should be ignored. If you don't understand this, then just come on. Do you understand anything? The nationwide commercial clearly sends the message to children that they should be ignored or should not be treated like a priority. It's just a totally creep thing to do. And maybe you don't understand that because you're all a bunch of cretins yourself, judging by the comments. I don't believe all these YouTube comments. No child should ever have to read YouTube comments. YouTube should be erased. Absolutely. So, the nationwide commercial, think about this nationwide commercial, this insidious dreck. Just because the children don't object to the commercial, why has the commercial not ended already? Just because the children do not object to the commercial, it does not mean they don't resent it. And it's setting up malware in any rational person's brain. We all know, we all remember being treated this way. How do you think it has affected you? Because it's impossible that it clearly has affected you, because it's like a virus, because there's no addressing it. And these children, nowadays, it is plain to see how respectable they are, you know, or whatever. but there's absolutely no reason to be doing the kind of thing the Nationwide commercial is doing. Because with the decontextualization of ages between the two age groups, the children will just feel utterly alienated. And it's acting like they don't exist because they know that the other age group is the one in power, obviously, and they accept that. You know, whereas they are relegated to the smaller age group, who feels oppressed by this other age group over this arbitrary number, you see, which is another thing. It really is nonsensical, so to speak. But they get that. That's natural, you see. But the other age group is larger. It's completely unequal. So for the other age group to be so whatever and say this, to do this thing they're doing is unacceptable. There's so much emphasis on, rightly, there is a lot of emphasis on feeling like one matters. What are children supposed to feel when they see this dreck? Obviously, they're going to feel abandoned. It's going to do all manner of things, that will stay with them for life. But just see, even if you want to say, oh well, that's life or whatever. We have to live with these certain things, like whatever. See the crassness of actually directing this bile of this ignore virus at these children who have done absolutely nothing except try to coexist and just be respectable and earn the older age group's respect. There's absolutely no reason. It is the height of unnecessariness and just douchebaggery to it's the definition to do that. That is saying, oh well, it's like and to the children clearly it sends a message of, well, you're just, because of the decontextualization, this is how naturally I felt when I was that age, and it must be how you all felt too. Like there's decontextualization, because there is. The other age group is putting all this context around itself and only extending those things, very in a limited fashion to the other age group, and in an irrational way, an unbalanced way, so that they're like, oh well, you'll know everything when you're over this arbitrary age. This is when everything really comes together. But to make it in the nationwide commercials way, to make it about feeling like a priority, about feeling like you don't exist, and then to direct that to this other age group who can't interpret because everything is out of context. How is that going to come across? It's absolutely obvious. So end that commercial. Get the word out to kids everywhere about what I am talking about. You'll understand. Okay? Now I could go on and on about that. But by now it should be perfectly obvious what I'm talking about and how it's the only enlightened, even slightly enlightened thing you can possibly do to put some context, to get some context about this, instead of doing this thing, just allowing the decontextualization to maintain its grip on everything and have this commercial keep cropping up again. For Christ's sake. End it. That commercial coming back again on the internet. It should have been over many months ago, and whatever. But you understand. And the commercial is unacceptable, and that message must be sent. Absolutely. And the kids it has to be about the kids, and if you care about your kids, all of that, just stop this decontextualization, which is so utterly summed up by that commercial. And it's okay, so now that I've said all that, that's just one commercial. Now I want to go on to another commercial, because the problem is all about the media, of course, since that's what kids can see. It's all about the media. And the other commercial I want to address is the Home Depot commercial. You know that one. Or I have reason to believe it may not be shown in other parts of the country. But hopefully, but at least here in Michigan, and I assume, no doubt, other states also, you know this commercial. And I'll tell you about that commercial. It's a Home Depot commercial, like I said. And in this Home Depot commercial, they actually utter the words, "Let's do a reality check. Kids will be kids. Dogs will be dogs." Outrageous! Not that there's anything wrong with dogs. Dogs are just being dogs, so to speak. They don't have, they don't do all this ageism stuff. That they can't, because it's all because of language. It's all about proliferating these terms and everything. That's what accounts for all of it. But that's kind of besides the point. So in this Home Depot commercial, that, believe it or not, is what they say. And when they say this, they have a little boy, like 5 years old, or more like 4 years old, drawing on the wall with a marker. Big deal, you know? So he drew on the wall with a marker. In a you could certainly argue that an adult uh, uh, wait a minute. Dad, what's your password? Logged on. Thanks. You could certainly argue that an adult could could uh, could draw on the wall also. So what? and if an adult drew on the wall, people may just say, well, they're just eccentric, you know? For God's sake. So yeah. So the boy drew on the wall with a marker. Now I bet whatever, if an adult drew on the wall with a marker, there may be a part of the brain of the other adults saying, well, if he had drawn on the wall with a pencil, if he had drawn on the wall with a pencil, then that would have been different. Then I would have said, well, he's eccentric. But there's something about drawing on the wall with a marker which is kind of childish, which is the ultimate ageist term, which has a hold on everything, because it's so glib, and that's not really the right usage of the word glib, but you know what I mean. It's the all common thing, that directly labels, which so many people say. It's the one that clearly is the the heart of it, or whatever you want to say, that has this stranglehold on what everything. But we could go on about that. But needless to say, don't say that, and don't say these ageist things. So what I was saying was so if he had drawn on the wall with a marker, maybe people would say, oh, well, that's just, oh, I think there's something about a marker. But if he had drawn on the wall with a pencil, then they would say, oh, he's just eccentric. And if they did say, well, it's childish to draw on the wall, then that person would just say, I don't care. This is just the kind of person I am. I draw on the wall. Because there's no labeling with this ageist crap. You see? So it's just a stupid thing. Just utterly stupid. If you think about it this way, that it's just that the kid used a marker instead of a pencil or a pen to draw on the wall. That's just because markers are something which is more intended by adults for kids. So what? There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And you could say, now that I think of it, you could say, you can erase pencil. You can't erase pen, though. And pen, you know, a pen, people would say, wouldn't have that association, probably. Yeah, they definitely wouldn't if they had drawn on the wall with a pen. Yeah. But you see how stupid this is. How totally stupid it is. So he drew on the wall with a marker, and now, not that there's anything wrong with dogs, and now you're basically clearly comparing all kids to dogs, which is not a compliment in general parlance, obviously. And that's naturally what kids are going to think. So they're basically associating this stupid thing, drawing on the wall with all kids, and likening this to being dogs. Therefore, completely being stupid, labeling just this offhand thing that he may have done, that someone might do, and think nothing of it as or whatever, you if you want to say, oh, that's kind of illogical, whatever. But you see, I recognize that the very last thing I said didn't really make sense, but you should see what I'm saying. There's decontextualization, obviously, and it's all about that. With this decontextualization, kids hear, no doubt, as I would have, that they are that they're being like dogs. This thing they associate with being like completely controlled or mistreated. Not that they would mistreat dogs, with being in the younger age group, and that there's nothing they can do about it. It's completely wrong and stupid, and just because they drew on the wall with a marker. How ridiculous! If they had drawn on the wall with a pencil instead, then they might not think the same thing. But I guarantee you that that's the only logical thing for them to think when they are cast out of context. It is just these adults labeling them, and just it computes to something cruel that they can't do anything about, because calling someone a dog is by adults is like saying, oh, well, you're inferior, you're just made to be mistreated. Not really. Most people, of course, don't think that way, but that's what the term implies, of course. Something very cruel. You see, obviously, that's the only way it can come across to kids, because they understand fully the meaning of all these terms. they and all the other stuff, you know, after this arbitrary age is the adults
In order to make
are
atoms
just
this
like,
big with
wait a
this many
minute.
neutrons, you need a truly cataclysmic event.
Doomfield
The adults are just like, oh well, whatever, you know, you can say what you want. We have freedom of speech. We have whatever. It doesn't bother me. You know, you can say. You can say all these things as you see in YouTube. But the common theme to to all of this stuff on YouTube is the ageism. It's either people saying outrageous, ageist, stupid, cruel things, which are absolutely ridiculous, or it's the other people just going along with it, not addressing it. YouTube should be erased. So anyway, back to the Home Depot commercial. You get what I'm saying. And this Home Depot commercial cannot be permitted either. They may not have come right out and said kids are like dogs. But clearly, by saying it in that way, where they say the two sentences exactly the same, there's no other conclusion that can be reached for kids. And it's not, has nothing to do with kids not understanding. It has to do with kids totally understanding, but just being decontextualized, where the thoughts are you see, where the meaning is lost, kind of, or augmented in this very pervasive, insidious way. You see, how could they not feel that way? So to say kids will be kids, dogs will be dogs, and to say let's do a reality check. Oh, like you know reality, like you're the only one who really knows reality. You're just imposing, and to kids, naturally, that seems like, oh, it's these adults, some of these adults who just really know what reality is, and the other adults don't really. You see, whereas, and that has nothing to do with them being whatever. It has absolutely nothing to do with any mental whatever on their part, or anything bad, quote unquote, you know, whatsoever. They're rational. So you see what I'm saying. It's also ridiculous to say, let's do a reality check. And you also need to send a message to kids that commercial is completely unacceptable. All kids also have to know, just as they have to know with the Nationwide commercial, that commercial is ridiculous. And you have to say something concrete. You have to stop going along with this decontextualization, with this turning off your brain about this. because your minds are conditioned, at least all these commenters on YouTube. So, and it's easy enough. It's perfectly easy. Is the other thing. Why can you could easily, very easily stop using these ageist expressions and all this crap, and but you don't, which is ridiculous. This has gone on for far too long, and it's just time to wake up. And there's absolutely no need. Nothing would change in your lives if you did this. It would only make the world, you know, a more. It would only, you know, make the world a truer place. You know, you know, definitely a lot of quotation marks, but you see what I'm saying. It's time for a new era to end this, and I can't even begin to impart to you how many ageist things there are in the media. Because it's all about the media, of course, since that's where kids, you know, get their view on society and whatnot. I can't even begin to impart to you the media. I was watching, you know, naturally, you know, I just happened to see this part on Everybody Loves Raymond today. You know, just as one out of countless examples where Amy Amy McDougal, she says she's offended by Robert, and she goes to Ray, and she says to Ray, or she says to Deborah, "Your brother-in-law, he's a child." That is outrageous, because it's everything that people attack, and I don't mean to be insensitive, but it's everything that people attack about racism, by which I mean labels. You don't like labels? Well, how about this? That is the ultimate thing. It's the exact same thing. Amy is supposed to be a nice person. How are kids going to feel? It's obvious how they're going to feel, and they have every right to feel that way. I contend, as reprehensible as it may sound to you, that a lot of these things on TV from before must be censored. We have to find a way to make it clear that we are living in a new era where kids are valued for the part of society that they are trying to be, without decontextualizing them as has been done age for ages, time immemorial. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter either if you felt alienated from other kids when you were a kid. You know, if you are going to decontextualize kids in any way, it should be, you know, not that this is really necessary, but it should be that you think that they feel like they fit in with other kids, of course. No harm whatsoever could come from that. But don't be thinking back about, when you went to school or whatever, and thinking, oh, well, I didn't really like other kids and whatever, so that must mean that kids are a certain way. No. Just open your eyes and see that kids today are and that are being very, respectable, or have a respectable way about them, and that it's completely unnecessary to to think that way. That's just really not. That's just really a weird thing to incorporate into your ideology or whatever, and it just screws up everything. Yeah. So, and that's just a social thing. Maybe you just didn't like other kids because you couldn't get to know them. You see, which is why, which could be a reason for getting to know people, later on, whereas, it was just harder because of the circumstances of, when you were a kid, because perhaps, kids are more shut off from other kids, or I don't know that that's the case or whatever, but whatever, stupid. So just see what I'm saying. I want this video to go viral. And I want those 2 commercials to end already. They must end. And kids have to know what I am saying. And you have to know what I'm saying, and get the message across. Because anything else is unacceptable. We claim to be living in a civilized society, and I can't tell you how many other things in the media should be gotten rid of. As terrible as that may sound to you, but maybe, hopefully, if you just uniformly, or whenever you see one of these things that you think is what I'm talking about on the media, you really make it clear to the kids that's not right, and just say, well, that was another era. You need to make them feel like they're, many quotation marks, and this word may sound pretentious to some, I can understand, but you need to make kids feel like they're part of the zeitgeist. If you make, you see, kids want to feel like they're involved with, things, and naturally, so they build up naturally, this, feeling like they're part of the zeitgeist, so to speak, makes them feel kind of connected, and whatever, but you need to make it so that this is not just, this decontextualizing, zeitgeist of the adult society, because that may be one thing that kids is important to kids, that they feel is a license, somehow they're part of the zeitgeist, even being whatever, with the decontextualization and whatever. It does no harm to let kids in on that. Even if you don't understand, I hope that you kind of see what I'm going for, and that somehow, you know, it makes you understand better, and you know, takes some of that decontextualization out. uh, so to reiterate, I cannot say strongly enough, enough with this nationwide trek, and enough with this Home Depot uh, commercial evil. Not that you know. I don't want to make it seem like, being called a dog is evil and everything, but it's not that, but that's the thing. It's a human centric thing to to do this stuff, because of language. It's associating being human, with this artifice of adulthood, and culture relating to adulthood, and all of that, and having all these terms that go along with that, which just crudely insult and decontextualize, and it's just stupid. I mean, cultures are good, of course. There would be no loss of culture whatsoever with this. You at least need to try